Herzlich willkommen in einer weiteren Englisch-Episode hier aus dem Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida. Heute habe ich eine ganz besondere Koryphäe hier, nämlich den Dr. Willix, den ich jetzt gleich vorstellen werde. Er ist seit 1977 vegan, trainiert jeden Tag, ist super fit und du erfährst ganz viel über die Themen Epigenetik, Advanced Medicine und vieles mehr, wie du dein Leben bereichern kannst, gesünder bleiben kannst und natürlich auch jünger sein kannst. Also tune in that episode. Hello, live from Florida in the Hippocrates Health Institute. I am welcoming Dr. Willix. Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
It's such a pleasure to have you here, man. You are plant-based since 1977, is
Right.
that correct?
That's correct. I've been a vegan since 1977.
Unbelievable. In that time, we did not have any soy milk or other products.
No,
just
no,
veggies and fruits from the tree.
Yeah, it was all plants and fruit. Yeah, we didn't have vegan cheese or vegan milk or no.
So, but that's still the food which matters. The veggies and the
Right,
fruits, I guess.
right,
Maybe
exactly.
more the veggies than the fruits.
More the veggies.
More the veggies, right?
More the veggies. Much more the veggies than the fruit.
So this famous guy is an author of 5 books. His 6th book is now attempting in October 20. When is it? 19?
This year.
2019.
This year.
Yes.
October this year.
He got a lot of Ironmans done actually. Over 50 triathlons and some marathons.
Yeah, I've done 14 marathons.
14 marathons. Unbelievable. Now predict he is 78 years old, but his biological age is around 50 years. So, man, please give us a few insights about your life and how can we be so young, stop aging process, and what is about epigenetics? And
Well, read the book first.
Yeah.
Read the Rejuvenation Solution.
Okay.
That has the 7 causes of aging and the 7 solutions.
okay, that's,
So
a good preview.
That's what it is. Okay.
We will put that in the show notes.
So that's what the Rejuvenation Solution is about. As far as epigenetics is concerned, years and years ago, I started wondering, how we can metabolically change what we do at the cellular level. And through a friend of mine who's a very brilliant MD in California, she created a look at certain single nucleotide polymorphisms. Mm-hmm. That's a big word, just means SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms. And those look at enzymes that tell your cells what to do. Mm-hmm. So we call them epigenetics because the epigenes really tell the DNA what proteins to make. Mm-hmm. And the first part of the DNA molecule has a sequence on it that repairs DNA. So it repairs the breakdown and prevents mutation. So it prevents the DNA from going awry. And we call that whole chemical process, we call that methylation.
Methylation.
So methylation is the process that repairs DNA. Mm-hmm, and epigenes, which are genetic enzymes, epigenes tell the DNA how to wind and unwind, how to open and close, how to tell the cells what to do. So epigenetics is really affected by your environment.
Okay.
What foods you eat, the bioelectrical fields you're exposed to, how much sleep you get, whether you exercise or don't exercise, your body habitus, whether your body weight is normal. So all of those things affect your epigenes. So the environment affects your epigenes. So but you inherit certain enzymes from your parents.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when both parents give you a normal enzyme, that's called, with a SNP, with an enzyme, it's called homozygous wild type or homozygous negative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When both your parents give you a sluggish or an abnormal enzyme, it's called homozygous, meaning it's the same, homozygous positive. Uh-huh. So and then if one gave you normal and one gave you abnormal, That's called heterozygous.
Okay.
So that's a little story on genetics, or about what epigenetics, what the single nucleotide polymorphisms do. Now, they tell the cell how to behave. So the epigenes really tell the cell what to do. And they need to work, they need what we call cofactors. They need certain amino acids, they need certain minerals, they need certain vitamins to work appropriately. So if your enzymes are a little sluggish, or they're not working at all, you may need more supplements than if your enzymes are working normally.
I understand. Okay.
And so the methylation pathway has to do with repairing DNA, but the end result of this whole process is energy, how your cells have energy. So you have trillions and trillions of cells that are going through this chemical reaction all the time. And the main objective of the cell is to produce energy. And that energy, the mechanism to do that is called the Krebs cycle. And the Krebs cycle is what stores energy in the cell. And the Krebs cycle needs certain nutraceuticals. But there are steps to get to that Krebs cycle. So there are certain blood tests that you can measure, but basically if you take a DNA swab, just a cheek swab, or a blood test, you can look at certain single nucleotide polymorphisms, certain SNPs, and tell how your body's working.
And then I can improve that.
Then you can improve that.
Right.
Once I know what your SNPs say, then I can say, okay, you can list certain symptoms, and I can look at your SNPs and say, well, here's a reason they're not working, because these SNPs, they don't just control the cell, but they also control your immune system in a certain way. They control how you break down hormones like estrogen. They control how you make how you make the chemicals in your brain. Okay. So how you make dopamine and serotonin. All of those things are interrelated in this cycle that's called the methylation pathway. Most people know that folic acid, which is given to women when they get pregnant. The reason they give folic acid is because it prevents the infant from developing a split spinal cord called spina bifida occulta.
Right, yeah.
So when they take folic acid, it reduces the incidence from 1 in 10,000 to, from 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 10,000.
Okay.
So it prevents spina bifida. One little B complex vitamin, folic acid. So imagine if you knew what minerals and where things weren't working, how these epigenes can be taught to work better. And since the end result is energy, you'd have more energy.
And we are superhuman then? I mean, is it like a biohack?
You're not superhuman, but you're maximizing your humanity.
Yeah, okay.
You're not superhuman, you're just maximizing. And everybody wants more energy.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't realize that there's chemical reactions that are going on in all these cells, and we can help them along. And so I've combined this theory of mine, which is if I know what your epigenes look like and I can help correct some of those enzymes to work better, then I can make you develop more energy. And once your cells have more energy, then if I can reduce some of the damage you've done, because you've done damage, okay? If I can reduce some of the damage you've done, then I should be able to pretty much take care of a lot of disease process and a lot of health-related issues that you just accept. And instead of taking a drug, you're actually taking natural ways to bring your cells back to normal.
Is that also affecting like allergens or something like that and health?
Is it affecting what? Allergens.
So if you're against some
yes,
special...
Yeah. It absolutely has a lot to do with allergies and have to do with reactions to certain things. The more your chemistry at the cellular level is balanced, the healthier your cells will be. Now, we also have a second part of this story, which we're not talking about today, which has to do with peptides.
Uh-huh.
Your body makes about 7,000 peptides. Mm-hmm. So we now know that the peptides, what their job is, all these amino acids that are in a chain, that's a peptide, amino acids in a chain. Mm-hmm. We know that these peptides signal the cell to tell it what to do. So okay. The epigenes are necessary to make energy, but the peptides are actually repairing cells. They actually can repair damaged cells. And they can slow down what we call senescence. Senescence is an aging cell.
Right.
They can slow down the senescent process. So the peptides can slow down the aging.
Wow.
And then we increase the energy at the cellular level. We got a whole new field of medicine where we should be able to reverse a lot of diseases. We should be able to help people even before they get sick stay healthier.
Wow. So your objective is go away from that medicine the normal doctors are doing, like disease orientated medicine, towards really proactive health.
Correct. Proactive health and prevent the damage. Right. Now, you're going to have damage. Everybody has damage. I have damage. I'm 78 years old. I have damage. It's not that I don't have damage.
I mean, you get damage also through the air and through
correct. Remember the environmental fields, the electromagnetic fields, poor nutrition, all the environmental things, cause damage. But with the combination of the epigenes, knowing how your epigenes work, and knowing how I can assist the cells to work better with peptides, I think this is going to get away from using drugs to treat symptoms. Because right now, we use drugs to treat symptoms. Your body has the ability to repair. Your body repairs. And that's why we always talk here at Hippocrates about why plant-based nutrition is so important. Because, if you're basing your nutrition on plants and you're supplementing with plant-based vitamins and minerals, you're feeding your cells. You're feeding the cells. When you feed the cells the right food, and I don't mean food in a literal sense, but give it the right minerals, give it the right chemistry, and then the cell does its job, because the cell wants to be normal. The cell doesn't want to be old. It doesn't want to be sick.
Okay.
It wants to be healthy. But it doesn't always get the right information from you, because you're out eating hamburgers. Okay? And there's no nutritious value to that.
Yeah.
Okay? Plants are where the nutrition is. Algae and, chlorella and blue-green algae and, spirulina and, sea vegetables and land vegetables and organic soil. But getting back to the epigenetic story, we figured out a way to take about 10 of these enzymes and find a way to manipulate them, to have them work better.
Okay.
And we do that with folic acid, which is a B complex vitamin, B12, B6. So all of these are B complex vitamins.
Okay.
And then we also provide the cell with certain minerals, magnesium, molybdenum, zinc. And those are called cofactors. They help the enzymes work more efficiently.
Okay.
And then when you find a deficiency, it may be that the cell or that the enzymes, that the SNPs, need an amino acid like choline. Because this whole process is really about taking a simple chemical reaction, methyl tetrahydrofolate, converting it to methylfolate, using B12 to regenerate homocysteine back into methionine, because a sulfur donor, the sulfur donor that's most important for your immune system is glutathione. Glutathione is made in your body. And so SAMe, which is a sulfur derivative, SAMe is the donor for sulfur that converts homocysteine into methionine. So it's really pretty simple.
Yeah, it is.
You just have to know where to plug in
Right.
the right nutraceuticals. And once you plug in the right nutraceuticals, then in addition to the cell working better and you being able to donate the sulfur group through SAMe, which is the major sulfur group, your immune system's better because you're creating glutathione, which is your major antioxidant. But more importantly, you're also telling the body to regulate dopamine and serotonin, which make you happy.
Oh, okay.
Right? Dopamine and serotonin are natural ways, your serotonin levels are what makes you feel good. And that's why when people go on a run or they go for a bike ride or they go for activity, they'll say, I got the runner's high. It's because their serotonin levels were high.
Right.
Okay? So the brain hormone, the brain hormones are very important in your overall health. And then when you take, so that part of the cell's working. I have methylfolate, I have B12, I have homocysteine converting back into methionine. I send a sulfur derivative, I donate a sulfur radical. It makes more dopamine and serotonin. That gear then creates more nitric oxide. Nitric oxide improves blood flow. So now I've got more nitric oxide. And from the nitric oxide pathway, I take vitamin D and I make more arginine, which helps my heart. So all of this is basically understanding chemistry.
Right.
It's not really that difficult, but you need to know that every human being is a little different. And everybody needs a little different manipulation.
Right.
But if I can fix the imbalances, then potentially I should be able to create a sense of health.
So how can we fix the imbalances? You said we need a easy DNA test.
Well, excuse me. It's a DNA test that measures the epigenes or the enzymes that are creating this whole chemical pathway.
Right.
It's not DNA. It's the epigene that tells the DNA what to do. So it tells the DNA. So it actually instructs the DNA on what proteins to make.
And can I do that epigene test?
Epigenetic test.
Epigenetic test. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. You can. It's like I said. It's simply a brush that you brush the inside of the mouth, or a blood test. So there are tests like 23andMe, which looks at. But a lot of times, what you don't know is what to look at. You don't know what SNPs to look for. So doctors that are trained in understanding the methylation pathway, they should be able to look at your SNPs and know whether you need help. So there's maybe 20 plus enzymes so far that we know create this ATP molecule or to create energy in the Krebs cycle. So we're looking at how they all interrelate, how certain gears turn and make better brain hormones, create health at the heart level, but a lot of it has to do with what you do with your body too.
Right.
So that's why plant-based nutrition is so important, because all your minerals and vitamins come from plants. You're not getting vitamins from a cow. The cow's eating. It's interesting. We eat all these animals, and what are they eating? Grass. They're eating vegetables, and we're going and eating them. Right. But the reality is, why don't we just skip the animal, skip the cow, and just go right to the grass? Why aren't we eating what they eat? It's interesting. I've always said that whether you believe in God or not, I do. But I've always said, if we were meant to eat meat, we would have the same teeth that the tigers do. Well, our teeth are
completely different. Yeah?
Completely different. We're meant to eat vegetables. And we got this is to grind up carrots.
Yeah, it is. I can verify that. I eat a lot of carrots and broccoli, so it's easy to chew them.
You need those. You need to bite the celery. You need to do that. So I think a lot of what we know is if you give the body, so it's why, health is really your responsibility. You're taking responsibility for your own health. You're eating plant-based nutrition as best you can. I mean, obviously, not everybody is going to become vegan, but the world is becoming more aware of the benefits of plant-based nutrition. And it doesn't mean that you can't eat animal protein. We here at Hippocrates don't eat animal protein, but there are people that eat fish and eat chicken and eat beef. I don't personally do that because I don't believe that it's healthy for me to do, but I know that there are people who crave a good steak or crave a good piece of salmon, wild salmon. And I don't believe that everybody is going to just be plant-based, but I do believe that we have to stop avoiding the plants and concentrating on the protein. We don't need as much protein as we thought we did. And the other thing that's important, as we're talking about your DNA, it's important for you to give your gut a rest, because everything about your immune system starts with your microbiome. So I always say you need prebiotics, that's plants, and you need probiotics, those are bacteria.
Okay.
So you take the prebiotics by eating plant-based nutrition, and the probiotics are the bacteria that you take to replenish what's missing in your diet. So prebiotics and probiotics, now your gut has a normal bacterial flora, and it can begin to digest food more appropriately, and you can have elimination every day, a couple times a day. So you're emptying your bowels every day, because that's where your immune system needs. It needs those bacteria. It needs that digestive process to create a good immunity. So we now know that the gut is the major biome, the major bacterial flora that we need to create good immune system. And a lot of us, when we eat a lot of non-fibrous foods, are putting our gut in an imbalance, and that's affecting us physically. Now we got autoimmune diseases, or we have heart disease, and we need to look directly at nutrition first. And then you need to keep your body healthy. So you need to exercise. Exercise is very important to keep things, in balance, to keep your body fat down and your muscle mass high. And then you also need to quiet your head, quieting your mind, getting, the only time we get into that parasympathetic rest state is when we sleep. We need to meditate. We need to find ways to get us into that quiet space. Some people, they just, when I was a resident at the University of Michigan, I used to go fishing. And the one thing that I would do is I wouldn't put a hook on the end of the line.
No, okay.
I just put a weight on. Throw, and
you don't need to fish.
Everybody said, well, did you catch anything? No, I caught sleep. I just rested. I'd reel it in, I'd throw the weight out again. People say, what are you doing that for? Because it was a quiet place for me to be. I could quiet my mind. I didn't have to think about work.
And there's no smartphone and no
radio
activity.
Right. You're just out there with nature. Throwing in I don't care if I catch a fish. It's not the important part of fishing.
Right. So in general, it's a good decision to come here to Hippocrates, huh? Because you have that good nutrition, you have the exercise, you have the rest you need, you have not that
and we have the environment. We have a beautiful environment. So I think here at Hippocrates, we teach you in a 3-week period of time how to treat your body. I always say, when you come to Hippocrates, we're going to love you back to health, even if you don't love yourself when you come in here. And by the time you leave, hopefully you'll love yourself enough to leave here in that state of health. So we talk, when you're here the first week, we always say to you, you're here, you're going to detox. You're going to go through a detoxification. We have infrared saunas to help you. We have nutrition. You don't have a lot of choices. You don't have... you're not watching television the whole time you're here, okay? You don't have a lot of cell signals here. Most of our buildings, you can barely get a phone call. So we eliminate a lot of the we block a lot of those energies that are affecting your health. And then we also think it's important for you, while you're going through your detox, give your body a rest. So we talk about fasting 1 day a week. Today's fast day, Wednesday. We use Wednesday as a fast day because that prepares your body for healing. So when you fast, you're actually rejuvenating your cells instead of working them. So if you think about it, if you started when you were young and you fasted 1 day a week, that's 52 weeks out of the year. Multiply that. I mean, if you did that for 10 years, you have 520 days. That's almost 2 years.
Right.
2 years that you've given your body a rest.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of that. Yeah. And we know that when it comes to repair, fasting repairs your body better than anything.
Okay. Crazy good.
Ayurvedically, they talked about doing fasting 4,500 years before Christ. They talked about 1 day fasting. That's what we do here at Hippocrates, 1 day of fasting. We don't do long 40-day fast. We don't do water fast. We use juice. We juice sprouts, and we use algae, and we repair the gut. So that's a really important part, and that helps that epigenetic pool. That assists that because we're providing you with the minerals from the food. So now you have that magnesium, zinc. Where is it coming from? It's coming from plants.
Right.
Where's your, we know that, vitamin C is coming from beets and from other sources. Because humans don't make vitamin C. We need vitamin C. We need B12. We need B6. We have to take those things. Well, they're in plants. They're not in animals.
You talked about fasting. One of the last questions now is that popular intermittent fasting also a way to do like 16 hours of fast and 8 hours of eating?
I think that if you did it right, intermittent fasting would work, but I don't think most people do it right.
What means that?
That means that during the 8 hours that they're eating, they're not eating normal healthy foods.
No, okay. So
they're fasting from when 8 p.m. to 12 noon.
Right.
That's great. But then what they do between 12 noon and 8 p.m., they can't eat anything they want. And sometimes when I look at people that are intermittently fasting and they say, well, how does this work? It works at the cellular level. It slows down senescence. Senescence is aging cells. So intermittent fasting would work if during the 8 hours you were eating healthy foods.
Cool.
But most people don't. They're still going to McDonald's. They're still having their coffee in the morning. They're waiting till noon. They're not waiting until noon to have. They're having their coffee at 8 a.m. when they wake up at 7:30.
Yeah, because the coffee is allowed.
It's allowed on the intermittent fasting. So I think, Longo has written a book on the fast mimicking diet. It's 5 days of fasting, but you're eating food. You're eating soups instead of no foods at all. You're using juices. So I think, personally for me, I think even though it's been taught for literally thousands of years, 1 day a week of letting your body rest is better than intermittent fasting.
Okay.
I think intermittent fasting is great, but I don't think it works in most people because they don't eat normal healthy foods in between. So don't give me this stuff, I'm fasting from midnight to 8 a.m. Half of them.
Now I have a pizza.
Well, the other thing is at 10 o'clock at night, they're out there drinking booze.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Okay, I'm with you. So one last thing you would like to mention, sir. Is there something you would like to add? Because you drive a lot of value bombs here. It's unbelievable. But 30 minutes are over already.
Quiet your mind down. Keep your mind quiet every day for 10 to 15 minutes. Keep your mind quiet.
That's enough?
10 to 15 minutes every day is enough. Just get into that quiet meditative state. That's enough. I do it twice a day because I enjoy it and because I've seen the benefits of it. But even if you did 15 or 20 minutes a day, it would be worth protecting your central nervous system. I always say, you brush your teeth twice a day, why don't you meditate twice a day?
Super cool. A final word. I like it very much. Thank you. It was a splash of really good information. And if you want to know more about that, about the healthy diet, about the exercising, about the SNPs, about all that methylation processes you talk about, epigenetics and so on, check out the links in the show note. There will be a link to his new book and of course to the older books as well, hopefully. And of course there will be a link to Hippocrates Health Institute, because that institute here helps you to do all of that stuff automatically, because it's like a paradise. You come here and you have no other choice to live that what Dr. Willix was just talking about. So slow down your aging process, get healthier, get younger, and enjoy your life. That's what we wish to you. All the best and hope to see you later. Bye bye.
Great job. Good.